Doesn't matter who says what, you'll always know who you are. We've tried that, doesn't work. Take away communication and things fall apart. Okay, everybody, we are with session 2, the second session of this course. And in the first session, I asked you a question. I asked, what is the purpose of marriage? Like, the purpose of a spade is to dig a hole, to shuffle, whatever. And what will be the purpose of marriage? And yes, if you want to pause the video for a minute or two and just share with each other, what do you think? What is the purpose of marriage? All right, so if you shared that, I'm ready to share my information in connection with the marriage, the purpose of marriage. All right, let's take a spade. You'll see a slide there, picture there of a spade, and then you'll see with some cell phones there, and there's quite old cell phones there. There's a BlackBerry and there's a Nokia 5110, the old one that couldn't break. Obviously those days you can only phone with a phone. That's what it was, to phone. So if we look at a spade, all right, what is the purpose of a spade? I can dig a hole with a spade, all right. With a cell phone, I can phone people. Nowadays with a cell phone you can do much more. You can search the internet, you can do a lot of things more with a cell phone. But just imagine if I take the spade and I try to phone my mother. I'm going to be so frustrated because it's not going to happen. And the longer I can try for the next 50 years to phone my mother with that spade, nothing will happen. I'll be frustrated. Same thing with a cell phone. If I take the cell phone and I try to dig a hole, imagine you must dig a hole about 1 meter by 1 meter to plant something, and you got a cell phone. It's like, all right, dig a hole. Man, you're going to be frustrated. First of all, I don't think the cell phone's going to make it, and you're going to be so frustrated. And I find a lot of people frustrated in marriage, so frustrated. And the problem is, next picture, it says, keep calm, I need a wife in my life. Well, that's the reason why I got married. I wanted a wife. I wanted somebody in my life. And that is the reason why we almost got divorced. That is the reason why our marriage didn't work out. Next slide, it says, I need, and now there's 2 spaces. I need something, a wife, a husband. Something that is missing there. All right. To explain to you is the next picture. There's a woman making food. And it says, one ingredient can make food taste full or tasteless. Man, the food's can look lovely. But if that one ingredient's not in there, it's just tasteless. And we all know what that is. Next picture is salt. Yes, we said it right, salt. All right. So I'm going to go back to the next, not back, I'm going forward to the next slide, but saying, I need something, a wife, a husband. There is something missing. Taking a tasteless marriage to awesome. Sometimes it looks nice, our marriage looks nice, we look great on Facebook, we look great on Instagram, or wherever, but nobody's knowing what's going on inside of our marriage. It looks nice on the outside, but there's no salt. There's something missing. There is something missing. Now, I'm going to show you what's missing with the next slide. To be. That's missing. I need to be a wife. Think about it. I need to be a husband. Imagine if you get married for that reason. I'm not saying that organized marriages are correct, but normally those people stand in front and the woman thinks, I need to be a wife for this man. I don't know him, I just met him, I know that I must be a wife for him. And he's standing there, I don't know this woman, but I need to be a husband for her. And you know, their marriage has got a better chance of making it. Well, it should make it. Because the reason why they're getting married, the focus is totally different. So what am I saying? Here for service. You are here for service. That's if you want a tasteful marriage. Be there for service. Marriage, let me think of that little puppy that you see there. Oh, it's cute. You know, the movies gives us a false advertising of what marriage is. False of what love is. And it's somebody's imagination, like I said, somebody's imagination in a book or in a film that we read or see. And that's not true life. That's not true marriage. So, the picture there. Oh, it's cute, the puppy. And then it says, but there's more, and that but is spelled wrongly, but with purpose. The next picture. Yes, what's coming out of there? Poop, dog poop. And that picture over there, now that is exactly how the films say marriage would be. You see that dog is picking up its own poop? It ain't going to happen. I'm telling you, it ain't going to happen. You will be picking it up. And it says, 4,000 to 5,000 days of your life, you, nobody else, you will be picking up poop, feeding, protecting. You bought yourself work. That little cute puppy. You bought yourself work. The next picture, there's a picture of a mother and a baby. Now, who's the mother, who's the baby? Easy, you can see, obviously the big woman is the mother and the small little child is the baby. But you know what's the difference there? First of all, is the baby wants unconditionally. You can see there, once, unconditionally. So, it's about taking, it's about having. The mother, on the other side, it says grown up, gives unconditionally, gives. A lot of times we tell each other, yeah, you just need to grow up. What you're actually saying is you need to stop thinking about yourself. You know, it's time that we become grown-ups in a marriage. Because sometimes we're two children, we're two babies in a marriage. Two people that want. I want, she wants. He wants, she wants. Everybody wants. I want this, she wants this, he wants that. Want. It's time that we must be the grown-ups and give unconditionally. That mother is giving unconditionally. That baby's not going to wash the car. That baby's not going to clean the dishes. The baby's not going to... Actually, that baby's going to take a sleep as well. But she's giving. She's nurturing. She's giving unconditionally. That's exactly what it means to be grown up. You are here for service. The next picture shows a picture of slaves there. And a lot of times we say in the house, I'm only the slave in this house. I'll just everybody slave in this house. You know what you're actually saying when you say I'm a slave? You're saying I'm doing this because I have to do it. I'm not doing it because I want to do it. Because a slave is working because they are sold. They have to do it. It's like telling my wife, well, I'm going to make you a cup of coffee now, but I don't want to make you a cup of coffee, so I'll do it just because I have to do it. Do you think she's going to feel loved? Do you think she's going to feel that I love her and that I care for her? If I give her coffee with that attitude? I don't think so. Don't ever call yourself a slave. But you are supposed to be a servant. And we have a great example, the next picture. A great example. You see there Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. We are here for service. The slave in the house, the least, the unworthiest slave in the house, he was normally the guy that washed the people's feet. He was the servant that washed the feet. And Jesus showed there, He did it willingly. He wasn't a slave in the house. He was being the servant. And he's washing the God that created this universes, this earth, everything. His son came and he washed people's feet. His disciples. Disciple means somebody that's following you, the people that's following him. He washed their feet. That is showing us exactly what life is about. You know, so a lot of times we don't really trust the word and what God says, because sometimes he says things that doesn't really gel like with us. So yeah. Look at Jeremiah 17 verse 5. This is what the Lord says. Cursed are those who put their trust in mere humans. You know, so many times we say you can't trust anybody. Well, God said it. He never told you to trust people. He told you to love people. That's what he told you. He never said trust. He said, trust me. In verse 7 it says, but blessed are those who trust in the Lord and have made the Lord their hope and confidence. Blessed are those who trust in the Lord. Do we really trust what God is saying? Do we really do? And to test that, well, let's take Malachi 3:10. God says, he says, give, and when you give, you will have so much. It says, I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out a blessing so great that you can't have enough room to take it in. He says, bring all your tithes. He's a gift. We think we have to gather. He says, no, give and you will receive more. So it's actually against how we think things should be. And then, yeah, well, the verses that I normally battle with is if we go to Matthew 5, man, there's verses that, oh, Lord, do you really mean this? Now I'm asking you, do you really trust God for what he's saying there? What his son is saying, God's son saying there, Jesus? He says, but I say to you, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, offer the other cheek also. Man, I think, oh man, this man's going to slap me like crazy, man. Am I going to make it? Verse 40, if you are sued in court and your shirt is taken from you, give your coat too. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go them 2 miles. And then verse 42 says, give to those who ask and don't turn away from those who want to borrow. Man, Lord, do you know South Africa? Because yeah, if you start giving things away or just give, man, you'll have nothing left. So these words are difficult to comprehend and to really just trust. And when God says, listen, you trust me on this. Trust me on this. Now the next one is quite harsh. And that is verse 44. On the next picture you'll see, it says, but I say to you, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you. Now, I took it out of the Amplified Bible, so you'll see there's things in brackets. And the reason, therefore, is explaining what love really means. It says in the Amplified, that is unselfishly seek the best for or higher good for your enemy, obviously. There. Now, I took the explanation there, and it says, the key to understand this and other statements about love. So we're talking about love, that the word love in the Bible. The word love, the love that God is talking about. It says here, to understand that is to know that this love, the Greek word agape, is not as much as of emotions. It's not about emotion. It's not about how you feel. So when he says love your enemy, it doesn't mean, oh, you must have a feeling for your enemy. No. It says, it is not as much as emotion as it is of doing things. It's an action. Doing things for the benefit of another person. That is having an unselfish. It's not thinking about yourself. Unselfish concern for others, and willingness, a willingness. That is a decision that you must make. You are willing to do something. Willingness to seek the best for another. To seek the best for another. Man, God says we must do this to our enemy. So with the previous session, I said your husband or your wife isn't your enemy. Well, if you think they're your enemy, God said love them. He said love them. And he wasn't talking about a feeling. He was talking about action. And that's what it says. But I say to you, love that is unselfish, seek the best and high good for your enemy. Let's look at a couple other slides here. Jesus said in Matthew 22, it says, verse 39, the second is like this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is unselfish, seek the best or higher good for others. Again, I took all these verses in the Amplified Bible because the Amplified Bible explains what the word actually means. All right, so it says there, verse 40, the law and the whole law and the writings of the prophet depends on these two commandments. Paul wrote to the Romans, he says in Romans 13, owe nothing to one another except love and seek the best for one another. For he who unselfishly loves his neighbor has fulfilled the essence of the law. Galatians, he says, for the whole law concerning human relationship is fulfilled in one precept. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is, you shall have an unselfish concern for others and do the things for their benefit. Man. Peter, what did he say? Next slide. It says, since by your obedience to the truth you have purified yourself for a sincere love of the believers. That is, you love one another from the heart, always unselfishly. Again, you get what I'm saying here? Unselfishly seek the best for one another. John, for this is the message which you have believers have heard from the beginning. This is what you heard from the beginning. It says that you should unselfishly love and seek the best for one another. Everybody is saying the same, all over. Let's see what the meaning of unselfish is. It says, the willing to put the need and wishes of others before your own. That guy you can see sitting thinking there. It means you're thinking of somebody else. You're not thinking of yourself. Thinking of somebody else. All right. The other word that it says, first it says unselfishly. The second word it says seek. Now, on the next slide, seek. Children like to play hide and seek. All right. It's an action. If I look for my keys or I look for socks or the pens every time, I'm not sitting like in a chair and seeking anything. I'm moving around in the room. I'm looking for them. It's an action. So when he says seek the best, it's an action. It's not like, well, I wish you the best. No, it's actually doing the best for somebody else. All right. Scripture all over. Verse 26, it says, just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without works. It is dead. It's nothing if there's no action to it. All right. Dear children, 1 John 3:18, dear children, let not merely say that we love each other. Let's show the truth by our what? Actions. It is about the actions. The next picture you'll see. Love is an action. The next one says, love is not words, it is action. And love isn't feelings, it is a decision. You have to decide to be unselfish. You have to decide to seek the best for the other person. It is like forgiving. If anybody thinks that you're going to forgive when you feel like it, I'm not ready to forgive because I don't feel like forgiving. I'll be ready later, because you're focusing on what you're feeling. Forgiveness is not a feeling. You'll wait forever. Forgiveness is a decision. In spite of how I feel about this person, I will choose to forgive that person. I will not give that person my joy. I will not let that person have my joy. I will choose to forgive them from the heart, because I want to live a free person, not in a jail, not a jail that I've got the key for. All right, so the next slide, there's another emotion. All right, it says joy, but you can see that guys haven't any joy at this moment. And I chose that picture because to remind us that is exactly how road rage look like. That man is so irritated, and that is an emotion, and that's not what love is. The movies tell us that's true love. It's not true love. True love, the love the Bible talks of, is action. The next slide, it says love is a verb. Without action, it's merely a word. There I say kick. What is kick? It's action. Fear is an emotion. Run is an action. Anger, emotion. Washing, action. Love, we would say emotion. No. Action. Action. Again, I mean, this can just go on forever. 1 Corinthians 10. Don't be concerned for your own good, but for the good of others. It's not about us. It is not about us. The next slide, it says, the tree does not eat its own fruit. And it says, the river does not drink its own water. Everything God created was giving. The sun is giving. Everything is giving. We will always feel an emptiness inside ourselves if we don't learn to give. And I've got a very good example here. Ecclesiastes 2. It's actually from verse 4 to 11. You can read the whole thing, but I'm just going to take out small snippets out of it. First of all, verse 4, it says, he was trying to find meaning for life. What is the meaning? What's the purpose of life? What's the meaning of life? He says, so I also tried to find meaning by building huge home for myself. I got in red there, myself. And by planting beautiful vineyards. Anything, and that is in verse 10, it says, anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure. Again, myself. Because it was, you can read everything there. It's about myself. I'm getting this myself. He drank, he did everything for himself. And then it ends with verse 11. It says, but as I looked at everything, all these things he did, everything for himself. He says, I'd worked so hard to accomplish all these things. I worked so hard, it says. It was all meaningless. We will always have an emptiness in ourselves. We will always be seeking. There's always something missing. Because we need to give. What is the purpose of life? I asked you, what is the purpose of marriage? Well, what's the purpose of life? It says, Jesus said, it's more blessed to give than to receive. He didn't want to make it difficult. He wanted you to experience life, to live. And yes, looking after yourself is also giving. I mean, if you're married and your wife says, listen, you're not eating the right food. Eat the right food, because you actually worth, if you're living for yourself, eat what you want to eat. But if you're living for them, you look after your health. You look after yourself because they need you. You don't need you, they need you. So looking after yourself in that way is looking after others as well. You're not living for yourself. Like I said, the question that I made, next slide, what is the purpose of marriage? The answer, to be a wife, to be a husband. To be a wife, to be a husband. That is the purpose. And if you're not doing that, your marriage will be frustrated. You think the problem is your partner? No. The problem is your thinking. Remember the previous session. I said, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If your thinking is not going to change, nothing's going to change. The first thing is your thinking, and that's exactly what I'm doing today. Is making you think different. It's not about you. The purpose of marriage, you thought, was having somebody? No. Change your thinking so that your marriage can change. The purpose of marriage is to be a wife. Go and search what is the best way to be a husband for your wife, a wife for your husband. All right. I said, what makes food tasteful? And the answer was salt. Now, suddenly, Matthew 5 verse 13 really makes sense. It says, you are the salt of the earth. That's what you are supposed to be. That's why you'll feel that you have no meaning in life if you're not the salt, if you don't make life tasteful. Being the salt, giving. That's being the salt, is giving. The next slide, it says, how do I make this world a better place? In brackets, the heaven. We pray, God, let your kingdom come as in heaven, as in on earth. So we want earth to be like heaven. You know, where God is ruling, we called heaven. And where man is ruling, we call earth. So why are people getting hurt? Why are there people getting killed, raped, all these things? Why? Because man is in control of it. God put man, he said, you will rule over this earth. The earth belongs to God. But he gave us permission to rule this for him. It's like somebody driving my car. Although it's my vehicle, they're driving it. So the decisions that they make will affect them, have consequences. And that's why it is. I can, if the moment that I say, God, I'm giving my life to you, I can say God is in control because I give him control of my life and I want him to control my life. And then he's controlling my life because I said, God, here's my life. Now I can say God is in control. But otherwise, I'm not listening to him, and unfortunately, he's not in control. All right, so how do I make the world a better place? Is make your marriage a better place. You will create whole children, people, which will go on in eternity to create heaven on earth. Right, it is all about their needs. That picture that you see there, the couple that's buying something there, that shop there, just think about it. That shop, perhaps it's got a lot of branches all over the country, all over the world, perhaps even. Why are they so successful? Because they are looking after the needs of their customers. What does that woman want? What does she need? And they're giving her what she needs, and that makes them successful. That makes them this huge company because they're looking after each other needs. So the next session, the third session, I'm going to teach you how to work smart, not hard. Because perhaps you're sitting there and thinking, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm doing all these things. I'm working so hard just to keep them happy, and they're never happy. And no matter what I do, it's just not enough. And you have no idea how hard I work at this marriage, and he or she is never happy. Well, you know what? You're working hard, but you're not working smart. It's like giving a plant electricity. A cell phone needed electricity, and a plant needs water. So if I give the cell phone water, I mean, it's effort, it's work, but nothing's happening. So in the next session, I'm going to show you how to work smart, doing the right thing, how to really love your partner, the right way, the easy way, less effort, much easier. And the whole thing is going to be about their needs. The next slide, it says, a vehicle does not want fuel, it needs fuel. A vehicle without fuel is nothing. You can't do anything with that. The children can play in it or whatever, but it's nothing. It needs. To be a vehicle, it needs the fuel. And your partner needs specific things. Not the things that you need, specific things. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about in the next session. So with the next session, it is, you'll see the slide there, emotional needs. We are going to talk about emotional needs in session 3. I'm looking forward to it.